U.S. stock futures were little changed Tuesday night after the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell for a second day in a rough start to the quarter. Dow futures fell by 30 points, or 0.08%. S&P 500 futures were lower by 0.05%, while the Nasdaq 100 futures dipped 0.03%. Wall Street is coming off a losing session for the major benchmarks after sticky inflation data from last week, as well as some strong economic data, had investors concerned the Federal Reserve will take longer to cut interest rates. Treasury yields spike, with the rate on the 10-year note touching its highest level since November. Oil prices also rose to 5-month highs. On Tuesday, the 30-stock Dow dropped nearly 400 points, or 1%. The S&P 500 lost 0.7%, while the Nasdaq Composite tumbled nearly 1%. Still, some market observers remain optimistic overall on equities, saying stocks are due for some consolidation after a strong start to the year. The S&P 500 is coming off its best first quarter since 2019. I think it's a little bit of a garden variety pullback, Kristen Bitterly, Global Wealth Head of Investment Solutions at Citi, said on CNBC's Closing Bell on Tuesday. We've heard day after day that we're either touching all-time highs or within reach of all-time highs. So, I don't see anything to read into today, more than geopolitics resurfacing, yields popping up. We know that the Fed's trajectory from here is downward. We know inflation is coming down. And we know that earnings have turned a corner as well, Bitterly continued. So, when you have that fundamental backdrop, it's actually pretty constructive for risk assets overall. On Wednesday, investors will get more insight into the labor market with the ADP private payrolls report, which comes ahead of the March jobs data on Friday. The ISM Services Index is set to release after the open. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is also set to speak, as is a slew of other central bank speakers including Fed Governors Michelle Bowman and Adriana Kugler. Chicago Fed President Austan Goolsbee and Fed Vice Chair for Supervision Michael Barr will also be speaking at events. On the earnings front, Levi Strauss will be reporting after the close. The ADP private payrolls report is set to release before markets open on Wednesday. Economists polled by Dow Jones anticipate companies to have added 155,000 in March. That would be an increase from the 140,000 positions added in the prior month. The recent stock market sell-off resembles a return to the norm, after a long period of upward and sideway moves, according to Adam Sarhan. We've seen the market go pretty much up or sideways just about every single day for the last 5 months, said the CEO of 50 Park Investments. It's perfectly normal and long overdue to see some selling come into the market. That's what's happening now after a big move up. He added that investors may also be taking some risk off the table ahead of fresh data points, including Friday's March jobs report.